Hello, I'm responding to Lord Miles. He made a big video about me. It's an hour and a half long in response to my video called YouTuber Arrested After Being Accused of Scamming. I want to talk about it because there's so much that's dishonest that I really do have to clear it up. I mean, it's at the point where he accused me of causing him thoughts of in jail.
Basically, this is me describing thoughts of suicide. I've got to admit, I went to a very dark place. Obviously, I didn't try and do it, but I had those thoughts. I have to be honest. Part of it was due to voidzilla and him lying. I would appreciate an apology from him and him to take down the videos.
Yeah, it's really serious stuff. He says, I have to take down my videos because of the lying that I did. And you know what? Honestly, if you look at my video, people hope I get sued into oblivion. When is the apology coming? So I wanted to address it. But let me first say, to give you a preview of what I'm about to go through, you're about to find out that I have been trying to follow up on this story for months now. People think that I have been just abandoned this story and, oh, I didn't care about the truth. I just reported what was convenient and then just ran off into the sunset. I have been in contact with Miles for this story before I did my video. I've been in contact with Miles for this story 2 days after I did this video, specifically in regards to updating the video with a direct commentary from him. In fact, Miles specifically told me to wait to publish this video. He told me to hold back, that it was actually a safety matter, that I wouldn't publish certain things before he got out of jail. And so, of course, I waited. This was part of what we said. Even our last messages together, you can see them right here. You will simply have to wait for anything we tell you and be glad we're doing the courtesy of including you at all. We really hope when Miles is free and provides info to clear his name, you'll apologize and put things right. Saying, quote, we'll unblock you on DMs when we have something to give you, likely within a month. Because at that point, Lord Miles' account had blocked me. They have never since unblocked me. I have repeatedly tried to go to Miles directly for a response on all of this, and he has not only ghosted me, he found out that I was trying to do a video, and rather than respond, I reached out privately and I said, hey, look, I'd really like to, talk to you about this. I'm forced to respond because of these accusations you're making, but I would like to talk to you like we planned to originally. And he has made a response. voidzilla is making a response video doubling down. When I was exonerated, he stated he'll release another video the day after my tonsillectomy surgery. Timing like this is suspiciously in bad faith, it seems. I mean, when am I supposed to respond to allegations that I caused you these, horrible thoughts, that I lied about you? This guy has been trying to get me to delay my video from the beginning, and I cannot delay it any longer. I hope you guys can understand. This is not some strategic 10,000 IQ play on my part. This is me. I should have made the video a long time ago, but instead, I believed Miles in good faith was actually going to talk to me, and obviously I should not have. I should have just run a story when I found out what I will be showing you as well, which is that Miles' whole story of being stolen from, it really cracks under actual examination. Not only do timelines make no sense, but Miles changes his story repeatedly about the guy who basically stole from him. That's his accusation. So let's back up, okay? That's been a lot. I wanted to give a preview because this is likely going to be a very long video. Who is Lord Miles? He's a British YouTuber who's known for sort of exploration, and he was known for getting arrested by the Taliban. And recently, he got arrested in Saudi Arabia during a Polymarket fast challenge. He was the subject of the challenge. He had to fast for 40 days. In the middle of it, he gets arrested. Before he got arrested, there was a bet placed, a large bet, against Miles finishing the fast. And that money came from Miles's personal account on crypto. This is all stuff you'll find in my original video. The other thing you'll find in my original video are comments directly from Miles's team or Miles. I don't think he was able to actually say anything to me, obviously, but he was able to convey a message to me through a proxy because he was arrested at the time. Now, I'm gonna carefully go through this because this video itself has been the subject of so much gaslighting by Miles and so much misrepresentations. I mean, this video is an hour and a half long and you'll barely ever see my actual video played. Instead, it's just characterizations by Miles. So I think it's important to go through what he says I said and what I actually said in my video. Here's an example where he claims that I accused him of getting arrested for scamming?
CoffeeZilla, I believe he claimed I went to Saudi Arabia jail due to scamming. Nowhere in my case was Polymarket mentioned. I was in there because I got squatted for potential terrorism.
Okay, so there you hear that I claimed that he went to jail for scamming, when in actuality, he went to jail for potential terrorism. Well, let's see what I actually said in my video. Relations to terrorism, detain him and to investigate potential terrorist ties. The Saudi government on terrorism charges. There it is. It's the exact opposite of what he said. I stated it correctly the first time. He just lies about what I said. The funny thing is, the reason I got it right was because I went to him before I made my video, asked him for comment, got a comment, and read his comment on air. That's like one of the things that's so frustrating in this whole story is that you would think, given the accusation that I lied about him, that I misrepresented things, that this whole time I was like just trying to grab a story without talking to him first, when in actuality, I bent over backwards to hear his side of the story. In the same breath where he's accusing me of misinformation, he's also accusing me of asking for too much information because he says that he couldn't give it at the time.
CoffeeZilla is basically demanding information. Now, of course, this is a legal matter. I'm in jail pending charges. We can't release sensitive information. But this CoffeeZilla guy, he's speaking like he's judge, jury, and executioner. This guy, it's all up to him.
So when I ask too many questions, it's, well, we can't release the information yet. Now, wouldn't you know it? I knew that because in the DMs that are flying by as you speak, you can actually find out that I asked them about getting this information that they can't speak about yet. And this was actually their idea. They say, if we gave you some info, could you promise to keep it non-public? At least we can make sure Miles is safe and free. I say, is there a time window when I can publish or just totally off the record? Totally off the record until Miles is out, but once he's out, we'll make sure you are the first one to break the info. And I say, agreed until Miles is out. So there you have it. I mean, a little different from what they're saying. They're saying, look, he's judge, jury, executioner. He's just demanding the information now. Well, actually, I was in an agreement with you in order for you to give me information that I would publish after you got out because you were going to supposedly give me so much information that cleared your name and all of that. Spoiler alert, they did not do that. Meanwhile, I also want to address the part of this where Miles says, I rushed out this video and didn't fact check that he was actually in jail. I want to start by saying, I literally included his statement that he was in jail in my original video. They're saying he really is in jail. And the only reason I wasn't sure at that point that that was actually true was because Miles' own sponsor had claimed in a fake death hoax claim that he had died during this challenge.
My sponsor with Jewel, they actually claimed in a troll post that I had died in a hospital from refeeding syndrome.
Which forced me to go to the British government to try to clear up what actually was happening. And this is really something that Miles presents as not really enough. He's like, well, why didn't he do more basically when he found out that my claim of being in jail was true?
And at the same time, CoffeeZilla, he managed to message the British government and he got confirmation I was in Saudi Arabia jail. Instead of him redacting the video, at least making a follow-up video, he just makes a simple comment on social media that's seen by a tiny fraction of his audience. That's not right, that's wrong.
So Miles says it's not right that I post a tweet. Well, would you believe behind the scenes they acted very differently about this same action? Because I sent the tweet and I said to them, I got a confirmation email from the FCDO, previously included Miles' denials, but I'm pinning a comment to the video. Re-imprisonment also put out this tweet. As I said, I'd love to speak to Miles on a call about the betting market ASAP. Now, what is the point here? I want to address this as soon as possible. I have put out a tweet, I put out a statement, but at the same time, I'm like, look, I want to get to the bottom of this as soon as possible so that we can update this. And this is exactly the time when they say, thank you very much to the tweet. They say, thank you for the tweet. By the way, if we gave you some info, could you promise to keep it non-public? Later saying, off the record until Miles is out, we know you get a lot of people denying things or being elusive, but Miles is being abused in prison and he's in genuine danger. Now, I later respond to this saying specifically, when the time comes and Miles is ready, you will have my attention, but also expect plenty of questions towards Miles about the betting. The blockchain history tells a compelling story. For now, I'm amenable to let things play out before speaking more, having read Miles' official comments in the meantimes and having given my initial impressions. This story is so twisted and convoluted, I want to be confident before I say anything further about it. Okay. So what am I saying here? I'm saying, look, I'm going to give you the time of day. I'm going to listen to your whole story. I'll try to fact check it. I'm going to press you because ultimately I think the blockchain evidence is fairly clear. I mean, there could be some explanation, some wild explanation that makes sense of it. But, you know, I'm giving it to him honestly. Like, I'm not just going to believe you just because you're saying, oh, look, I had a tough time in jail. There's still this blockchain element of the rigged bet that has to be answered for. And so I'm being candid. Hey, look, if you come to me, I am going to push you on this. And you actually see this idea that, look, this story is very twisted and convoluted in my original episode, because despite saying
this guy is basically presenting speculation as fact,
I didn't present speculation as fact. Actually, if you check the video, which Miles does not show, where I actually talk about it, you would know that I really said this. I don't really know what's going on. What I do know is that Miles sent money to an account that within hours was betting money against him and made $60,000 from the mysterious disappearance. And additionally, Miles made $30K from the pump fund, got paid $16K. It looks a little too suspicious to me. As I said, I'm going to give them their side of the story. I'm going to tell you what they're claiming. I don't find it credible personally, but strange things happen. Maybe it'll all come out that Miles was indeed targeted by his Afghan friend who he sends crypto to, and that guy bet against him and then also doxed him to the Saudi government on terrorism charges. That right there, that was actually Miles' whole story. That's basically the story he has given, a variation of it. As you'll see, it's changed, but yes, I'm incredulous of the idea, but I say right up front, it is possible. Of course it's possible that it could come out. I did not run a story saying this is 100% what happened. I said, hey, this is what it looks like. I read his side of the story, and then I contacted him behind the scenes for months to actually get the story. And they even told me they were going to give me the story until this hour and a half drops where my clips are never actually played. I'm never actually spoken to, and no actual evidence has ever been presented to me. Instead, I'm just demanded that I apologize. It's just repeated throughout the piece. And in fact, Miles basically says if I do anything but apologize to him, I must be farming it for drama.
I would appreciate an apology from him and him to take down the videos. If he does his follow-up video and tries to create drama, tries to make more ad revenue off it, I do say you guys should shame him. I'm not going to go back and forth defending my innocence. I am innocent. I've explained everything from my end. I'm going to leave it at that. But yeah, he's not a good guy. Apology will make up for it slightly. But again, I just don't see him being a good person.
I find this utterly incredible. The guy who says, hey, he's trying to farm ad revenue off of it is running a betting ad with Subway Surfer in the side corner of his big I got attacked piece. Not only that, he said that, I'm above responding. I don't need to prove my innocence. I'm not going to respond again. You guys should just go shame this guy. He said already he's announced his second response video before seeing my video. He doesn't even know what I'm going to say. And he's already like, I'm going to make another video. I'll just let the record of our actual texts, who's been trying to actually reach the truth here, speak for itself. But I just find that remarkable. So look, now I want to turn to the actual record of the bet, which is really the subject of that whole original video he's demanding an apology for. I first want to, once again, level set what this is about, because you won't be surprised to learn Miles kind of misrepresents what he was accused of. He kind of makes it confusing.
He's alleging I stole $60,000. Some are saying $15 million. Some are saying something in between.
No, I said $60,000. Despite the video's title being I stole $15 million in Saudi jail, apparently he knows that's not true. But let's talk about Miles' explanation for all of this, because he kind of gives a story, but not much in the way of hard evidence. He just kind of communicates what he believes has happened. What's lucky for me is that he's communicated this multiple times, and it lets us triangulate, sort of who we should be looking at for who to investigate. Because obviously I'd like to just him to tell me the name of the guy so I could go investigate it. That was originally the idea, was he would tell me, the name of this secret plot. But of course he's refused to do this, so we have to rely on, just his public statements. So here's the first one. It says the account being referenced belonged to an Afghan national who helps Miles transfer money. Thanks to the international sanctions Afghanistan is under, the guy who owns this account bets against Miles. That's the guy who we should be looking for owning this Polymarket account. Well, then Miles goes ahead and he does a pump fund stream. This is right after he gets released from jail, and he kind of does a tell-all on his story. Not a lot of people saw it. I, of course, did and downloaded it. We're going to pay attention to two things. One, what does this guy do? And two, what is his ethnicity or nationality?
He was just admin. He was admin. He was like in charge of one of my accounts. And he's a Western dude, but I'm not telling his country where he is. And I'm not helping anyone basically get him out. I want him to rot in jail. He basically stole a lot from me and you guys, and it was not a nice experience in Saudi Arabia jail. Okay,
so the second time Miles tells this story, it's a little bit different. I mean, honestly, a lot different. The guy is no longer someone who helps Miles transfer money. He's an admin. He's a Westerner now instead of an Afghan national, and he's in jail. Now, this is actually a big change from the original Miles statement, because he says he wonders if the account has been active since his arrest, as he's in jail and has no access to his electronics. So that might be a way to dispel any fears. The idea being maybe the guy's active on the crypto account, and that could, be a way to tell. So it seems like the first time he responded, it seemed like he thought the guy was not in jail. Now the guy has gone from an Afghan national to a Westerner and now is in jail. Miles believes that the guy is still in jail as Miles is speaking to us. And then Miles tells the story a third time.
I do business with him in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and I thought he was a good guy. He was just my local guide because he knows Arabic.
Okay, now he's gone from an admin, someone who helps him transfer money, to now he's a guide. And specifically someone who Miles does business with in Pakistan or Afghanistan. Miles brings this up again later.
I was paying him a modest salary as an Afghan or a Pakistani.
Miles then claims he always thought the guy's family was from Pakistan.
I thought all his family were in Pakistan. What he actually did, though, was stole a bunch of money off me.
Well, there you have it. The guy who's apparently responsible for the real theft in all of this, the guy who, he's claiming basically I mistook him for, he originally helps Miles transfer money, an Afghan national not in jail. Now he's an admin Westerner still in jail. Then he's a guide Pakistani family, helps Miles in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and is still in jail.
At the end of the day, I think the person who stole money off me is still in jail. I hope he rots.
Okay, so I hope by now you are seeing that Miles's story about this has changed dramatically over, several months, right? Every time he tells his story, it's a little bit different than the last time he told it. Now, again, this is something I'd love to ask him about. This is why I've repeatedly tried to ask him, but he doesn't want to do it that way, so we're going to do it this way instead. Now, this guy who's in jail, it's very interesting because when we go back to the Polymarket bet, you kind of think, how can you prove whether it's Miles or this guy? It's very difficult because there's just, how can you disprove a negative? How can you disprove that this guy exists? The Pakistani Westerner Afghanistan guy. Well, I actually got an idea from Lord Miles. This is his original statement. It says, as Miles is in jail, he has no access to his electronics, so that might be a way to dispel fears. It also might be a way to find out who's really behind this, because their point is that in jail, in Saudi Arabia jail, you don't have access to your electronics, therefore you can't operate a crypto account. Well, we just found out that the guy who scammed Miles got arrested and has been in jail basically since this whole thing started. Miles says that the guy tried to flee the country and got arrested. So he was basically arrested right around the time that Miles was as well.
He also stole my own money and bet against me and tried to flee the country. So when he tried to flee to the airport, just before the swatting happened, he got stopped at the airport and arrested.
So the official story is that this guy has been basically in jail the entire time. So what we should go and check is if the bet was cashed. right? Because if he's been in jail this whole time, he can't cash the bet that he made against Miles. And so when we go and check, what we see is that originally the bet was open for a very long time. This is the account. It says active. You see, they have a bunch of shares in profit, right? But then Miles gets released on bail. So at this point, the bet hasn't been cashed. Miles gets released on bail. December 1, no electronics. Now it says, when Miles was released on bail, he was given none of his electronics back. And then Miles gets access to his SIM card in December 2nd. This will all become relevant in a second. Miles went to a lawyer who he then paid to get access to his Saudi SIM card replacement by arguing with the retail worker. And then 2 days after Miles gets access back to his equipment, December 4th, the biggest no bet cashes out. This is December 4th. You can see it right there. And there's a $90,000 cash out there. So let me ask the obvious question. How could this thief, this guy who's still rotting in jail, have cashed out this bet on December 4th, 2 days after Miles gets his SIM cards back, according to his public post? How's that possible? I mean, in Miles's own response, he says this might be a way to dispel fears or prove what's going on, right? The counterfactual is that we could prove what's happening by the account activity. And the account activity suggests that soon after Miles got his devices back, the biggest no bet cashed out. Not only that, we have even more evidence. And look, again, if you're like, Steven, this is like too much. I know. Like, I had been holding on to this information for so long. I had wanted to report all of this stuff, basically immediately when this bet cashed. I was ready to report this story. But, behind the scenes, they're telling me, hey, Miles is going to talk to you. Miles is going to, give you this information so you can break the story, right? Break the story. Well, it looks like that was, of course, a lie. But anyways, let me just show you what else I found because I have it. There was also a $2,000 transfer early on to Money Money Please, which is the Polymarket betting account that this thief owns. That's definitely not Miles. And it was 2 months before supposedly the thief drained Miles's wallet.
That man completely drained it. He ran with the wallet he had access to, and he stole my money. Not only did he steal my money, he also used my own money to bet against me.
And so my point in saying this is, if that wallet was funded by Miles 2 months ago, how could he not have known about this, right? He's saying that this is some mystery account and that, basically he got drained, so he wouldn't have normally funded it. But 2 months before, back in July, early July, he gets in $2,000. And that account then goes and bets yes on Miles completing his 40-day fast. Now, that's very interesting. Think about what this means. It means that whoever this person is originally thought Miles would win the bet, right? And then after being with Miles a while, thought he's not going to win the bet. I just don't see this being the rogue thief. Again, I want to say, just like I said in my first video, could be wrong. I want to hear Miles' side of the story. I wanted to hear it from him privately. But, I just don't think that there have been answers for that. And I think there need to be answers if you're saying that, oh, this is some other third party. Previously, you said that, you shouldn't bet on yourself.
Did you bet on yourself on Polymarket? No, I'm not allowed. And betting on yourself is a very bad thing.
If you knowingly fund $2,000 to an account that's betting yes on you, right, that's affiliated with you, that seems to break what you're saying. Now, I also finally want to talk about Miles's explanation as to why, this definitely couldn't have been him. I think it is worth addressing. Basically, it boils down to I'm too rich for that. I am too wealthy to be able to, to want to steal that money. He said it in his first response, and he said it multiple times later.
Let's play devil's advocate and say, yeah, I'm going to steal from you guys, and I'm going to rug the entire market. I would be walking away with millions, not $60,000. If I can guarantee 4 or 5x my money, I'm putting in more money than that. To get $60,000, the average salary of a McDonald's worker.
I'm not going to throw my life and my reputation away over $60,000 when there's $1.2 million on the line. It sounds arrogant, but it's like accusing Warren Buffett of stealing $50. Maybe he would steal $50 million, but $50, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, guys, quit. You're talking about a McDonald's salary, right? You poor people, you think he would steal that when he could steal a lot more than that. And what I find so funny about this is in the middle of saying he is too rich to do something like sell out his reputation, in literally the middle of that, he is going to fade out and transition into an ad.
This is Lord Miles, a saint, an explorer, a friend. Ever since that truly heartbreaking moment with George Floyd and the fentanyl tragedy, he's teamed up with a charity organization, Duel, to bring priceless education and smiles to children across the globe. They've taught Afghans how to speak English and shown them new ways to express themselves.
Hey guys, I'm at Osama bin Laden's house in Tora Bora, Afghanistan, and we've met the village elders, we've got the children around here, and we're going to teach them about
Duel.
So this old man over here, he fought the Americans and the Soviets for 40 years. He's a strong warrior mujahideen, and he took a gamble. But the real gamble that pays off, guys, is gambling.
Well, isn't that evidence that Miles would never sell himself out? He's a man of dignity. He's too rich, like Warren Buffett, to be doing something so crass as engaging in a rigged poly market bet. So yeah, that's basically it. I just wanted to address all of Miles' major points and show you guys the investigation I've been doing. Again, I wanted to ultimately confront Miles because he might have something that I don't know about that I would have loved to know about. But obviously he's holding his cards close to the chest for reasons I can't understand. I'm definitely not saying that I'm above, thinking one thing and it's actually the other, but I hope this video has shown that I do take it seriously. I do try to be accurate and I do try to go to people for their side of the story. And yeah, that's basically it.